Go back to the Tony Ferguson sweepstakes, okay? Hooker's coach weighed in, rather he didn't do it. Duke Rufus came out and said he wants Tony Ferguson versus Paul Felder. So totally different, right? You have one coach that's saying, I don't want my guy to do it. You have another coach going, not only will my guy do it, my guy is ready to do it. In fact, I want him to do it. Now, I have to tell you, if I was to lay out the order of fights I would want for Tony Ferguson, or that I would predict are going to happen for Tony Ferguson. And you have to understand, when I make the prediction, no matter what fight gets announced, when I make the prediction, I'm attempting to predict what the office wants to happen. So then the office has to make phone calls, you got to talk to everybody, then you bring somebody together. I'm predicting what the office will go for and what order I guess that they will do it in, starting with Hooker, and I had Felder at number 2. And that's a very close toss-up right there. I just didn't know if Felder was ready to go, right? I see Felder all the time. He's on TV. He's working hard. He's in quarantines and pandemics. He's flying all over all over the place. I see him cornering a guy. So this is Chael, just, Felder's probably the one that would not be short notice guy against the former champion. By the way, in a main event. Well, guess I was wrong. And I love that idea. It's very hard to imagine that the UFC, under any circumstance, would say no to Tony Ferguson versus Paul Felder. Just from a let's have fun, let's deliver for the fans, let's just get these guys a big fight, let's make good with our partners at ESPN, bring something the world wants to see. It's very hard to imagine the UFC would ever say no to that. The question that I now have is, when did they get that information? Because I just got it. I just found out. Duke Rufus did an interview with somebody else, and I just read the interview. I bring that to you because if the UFC already has something going on, then you're simply not going to see Ferguson versus Paul Felder. But that fight makes us, oh man, 155. Can you go wrong at 155 right now? Can you just match up anybody in the top 10 with anybody else in the top 10 and get it wrong? I cannot believe how hard that division is. That's where I always have problems when guys are arguing the ranking. I heard Hooker arguing a ranking with Oliveira, or I'm remembering it wrong and it was Oliveira arguing a ranking with Dan Hooker. It's like, who cares? You have any idea how good you guys both are? How good your records are, what big placements you get on cards, and how many fans and fighters alike respect. Shut up about your, it's one of those things. It is iron on top of iron. That division is so good. There's a guy named Gregor Gillespie. And I used to argue quietly, like I'd be behind the scenes and people go, hey, is there anybody that can beat Khabib? I go, well, there's actually a guy, and they do not match up very well. For me, a true fan that just wants to see a competition, I would love to see Khabib versus this guy, and his name's Gregor Gillespie. And Gregor was 8-0, completely undefeated. He's still 8-1. He got kicked by Kevin Lee and fell down. Okay, great. He's 8-1. But that division is so hard that not only is Gregor not in the rankings, that when I would talk about Gregor, I had to do it quietly because coming out, people was, who are you talking about? That's how tough that division is. It's so tough that after he got kicked in the face, I haven't even known that he's looking for another fight, that he's even lined up. I only offer this to you because you have a very impressive guy who's not even around right now. And some rumors are saying he's not coming back. None of that is meant to speak about Gregor or how well he's done. It's to speak about how gall darn hard 155 pounds is. When I bring you guys a piece, I didn't realize that I used to say this a lot. I got teased. I got teased by you guys. I would say, how good is Conor McGregor? But I stand by the question because we may never know actually how good is Conor McGregor. If you look at what he did at 145 pounds and 155, and you do have to understand, the only division that could argue it's harder than 155 is 145. He won them both. He won so damn many championships, he forgot one. He calls himself the champ. He coined the phrase champ. He actually trademarked that phrase, champ. which is extremely ironic considering he's a champ. He won so damn many world championships, he forgot the interim championship that he won. I was there. I watched it. I watched him beat Chad Mendes, which, by the way, at the time that fight happened, broke a live gate record. It was a record that got broken, and I know about because I had it before he broke it. Then he goes into boxing against, I think it's a very fair question. How good is Conor McGregor? He goes into boxing against Floyd Mayweather. He'd never done the sport before in a weight class that he and Floyd made up and wrote down on a piece of paper. Goes 30 minutes with Floyd, never falls down once. It's a fair, well, how good is he? Could he go with Canelo? Canelo went 36 minutes with Floyd. Conor went 30. Canelo never fell down. Conor never fell down. Canelo won 2 rounds. Conor won a bunch of rounds, regardless of what the crooks at the Nevada State Athletic Commission said. He won a bunch of rounds. So for me to, I know what you're going to say. You're going to allow, oh, could he go with Canelo? Well, I'm usually the only common opponent that they have. We only have one frame of reference. And yes, I'm asking you, how could he do with Canelo? I'm asking you that. Oh, Canelo kick his ass. Okay, great. That's what you said about Floyd, and it didn't happen. So what do you mean Canelo kicks his ass? Gets him out of there in the first round? He should. If they went over to MMA, Conor would get Canelo out of there in the first round. So when you're saying Canelo kicks his ass and you're dismissing that I even bring it up, when does Canelo beat him? Does he beat him quicker than Floyd or longer than Floyd? We know that Canelo's not as good as Floyd. So before you say he beats him faster than Floyd, what are you basing that on? And you've got every right to base it. I'm asking the question, how good is he? Let's take pros out of it completely. Take the Pacquiaos, take all the big names out of it completely. Throw them in the amateurs against guys you've never heard of that are no older than 22 years old. Don't even take him out of his country. Put him in Ireland in the amateurs. Can he make the world or Olympic team? If he can beat up all of the kids in the amateurs within Ireland, who does very good on the world stage, could he win a medal at the Olympic Games? I'm asking the question, just how good is he? He's pretty goddamn good. I bring this to you only to give praise to the entire 155-pound division. It does not look right. I love what Coach Rufus is saying. Paul Felder versus Tony Ferguson, man, I'm in. I'm in. But it just doesn't look like you can go wrong. Looks like you could just line them up on a board and throw a dart. You grab a top 10 155-pounder right now, you got a hard fight on your hands. Lou? It's pronounced Lou?